Hi there, and welcome to Real Talk in ELT, a podcast about the reality of teaching English. I'm your host, Kelly Pennington. Thank you for joining me today. Welcome. Okay, so today we are going to be covering Instagram teachers, the good, the bad, and the ugliness of social media. How to start this podcast? Well, I think that we can start with the ugliness of social media because I think in general there are a lot of teachers that feel extreme amounts of pressure from what's happening in social media and some teacher grams that are going on and being produced in the market. So first of all, I'd like to address just the ridiculous of the marketing. As a teacher who prides herself in trying to constantly become more and more educated and focus on professional development, we know that there's just this ridiculousness of marketing English programs to become fluent in 6 months, and they've come up with a new methodology, or there's a switch in your brain that you haven't turned on yet, and that's why you can't learn a language. I mean, they come up with such ridiculous reasons for why people aren't learning, and also for marketing tactics. And I think that they're trying to speak to the emotions of future students or potential clients. So from a business perspective, while you should tune into the emotions of potential clients, you should not exploit them or negatively impact the future of people for your own personal gain. And I think that we've all experienced these silly social media profiles with teachers who are more interested in building their bank account than building meaningful relationships and helping learners learn. So, how to cope with that? I can't give you all the right answers, but I can tell you, in my perspective, I like to purge the negativity. So if I find that a teacher is promoting programs or selling packages and services in what I think to be an unethical way, I usually remove them from my social media because I'm actually not interested in going onto social media and having that type of negativity. It bothers me. It irritates me. I will get into a bad mood, talk to my husband about it, and just get more irritated. And he's a great person in terms of, he always brings me back to reality, saying, this doesn't really affect you. Whatever they do, they're doing, and it's ridiculous. And we know that is not true, but people want it to be true. Because it's much easier for students to say there's something physically wrong with me or there's something wrong with the teacher, as opposed to confronting the issue of, I did not put the time and effort into learning a language. So that is a hard reality, and it's a harsh confrontation of yourself and looking into the mirror and really seeing the reflection of what you've done to accomplish your goal. So I think that as long as there's people out there who are not willing to take a hard look at themselves and the amount of effort that they've put into achieving a goal or an aim that they're trying to accomplish, there will always be people who try to sell snake oil. And that's unfortunate, but that is the reality of humanity at this point. It's sometimes easier to point the finger as opposed to looking in the mirror, sitting yourself down and saying, are you going to do it or not? On the plus side, I find that there are so many beneficial teachergrams out there. And I love following good professionals that promote positivity and promote inclusiveness and promote just good practices and the realities of language learning, because language learning is a difficult task and it's not an easy thing to do. So if you have students that are struggling with it, be present with them. Be aware that they're having difficulties. I'm sure if you're speaking English as a second language or third or fourth language, then you probably had those difficulties as well. I struggle with Portuguese, and it's frustrating for me, and I get irritated, and my pronunciation is all wrong sometimes. And so, just being aware that students who really truly want to learn will struggle and will have issues, and there are teachers out there that are trying to promote good things, good materials, good practices, and an inclusive environment for other teachers. So I think that's what we should be focusing on in terms of social media. So I guess my stance on it is all of that negativity and all of that ridiculousness, it's looking for attention. It's looking to gain followers and gain money. And so for all of those profiles that are manipulative and sometimes flat out lying and using false marketing and false advertising for financial gain, I ignore it. And I think it would be beneficial and behoove anybody else to ignore them, unfollow them, and don't give them the attention that they so desperately want and need. And instead, build a community of language teachers that is inclusive and supports the good characteristics, the true characteristics of teaching and learning and all of those things. So you reflect the vibe of your tribe. So if you're building an online community, whether you're liking or watching or participating in some way, shape, or form with that negativity and that false advertising and all of that manipulativeness, it's not going to be reflective in a beneficial or positive way in what you're promoting. So I think that by removing that negativity and all of that ugliness on social media and really following and interacting with people who are trying to further the profession and further learning and have real discussions about education is going to be reflective in what you post. So if you see someone posting and interacting with you about some research or interesting information or ways to help your students or different things that teachers can do to become more organized or have more successful classes, that's going to be reflected in what you post after. So that would be my recommendation. Stay away from bad, focus on the good, try to build your community, try to build your tribe, and be very aware of the vibe and the type of things that you are putting out there into the world. Well, we've reached the end of this episode, and it was very much my opinion on how to deal with all of the social media stuff. And I hope it was helpful for anybody who actually feels the same way about these types of charlatans that like to go on social media and promote their silly programs. Stay away from it. Build a good community. Build a positive community. Build a community that really encourages language learning. Thank you for joining me this week. I will be back next episode with some real talk on native and non-native English teachers. Ready to join the conversation? Head on over to Instagram at Real Talk in ELT Podcast or on @EnglishWithKelly and send me a message. That's it for me. Take care of yourself, your health, your vibe, and your tribe. Until next time.